Hi guys, welcome to another one of my little blogs. Of course I haven't been uploading lately because uni work's just been getting in the way of doing everything, but in the past couple of days 2018 came to an end and 2019 began. Of course, as we see the new one, as I did at the end of 2017, I did a list running down on my top 10 best and my top 10 worst movies of the year. And I thought, hey, why not? I'll do one again this year. So, well, related to last year of course, I'm recording this a little bit late because I wasn't able to film at the time. So what I'm going to do is, for this video, I'm going to be doing a breakdown of my top 10 best films of 2018, released in UK cinemas, so like anything that was Oscar bait worthy from 2017 is likely to be included in the list, and the same goes for the next list, which I'll do in the following blog, which will be my top 10 worst films of 2018. And so I think we'll just have to go through this now. Of course, this went through a lot of thought into bringing this, and there's several films I wanted to put in this that have not been put in. And there are several there's one that I wanted to put in, but it's not actually out here in the UK until February, so I'm leaving it out, but it will be mentioned as it comes on. So let's waste no time and let's get rolling. So we kick off my list at number 10, which we start off with Phantom Threads. This one starred Daniel Day-Lewis and Vicky Krieps, and of course it was focused on Reynolds Woodcock, who's played by Daniel Day-Lewis, because what's meant to be his final performance, because he's retired. He said he was retiring at this point, so he was a brilliant actor in this film. And of course, this one was Oscar bait worthy for last year's Oscars, and it was a very good. It was a great film. I went to see this in the cinema. I couldn't get over just how well I found it, because I went to a double bill when I saw this. I ended up seeing I, Tonya following this, but I actually enjoyed. Because I, Tonya, I did like it better initially, but this one, Phantom Thread, I loved much better. And it's just excellent acting from Vicky Krieps, Daniel Day-Lewis, Leslie Manville, Julie Volono. It was just a well put together piece. Of course, it was directed by, Paul Thomas Anderson directed this. It was a great piece of entertainment, and it's worth watching for anyone. At number 9 on my list, we have Hotel Artemis. This one was sort of a future style London, where there's it's sort of a hotel hospital style area where people, usually criminal people, it was run by Jodie Foster in this film, and you had some of the residents included Sophia Boutella, who played sort of a niece. She was sort of a foreign person in the hotel. You had Dave Bautista, who we all know out of Guardians, Sterling K. Brown, Jeff Goldblum was even in the film, and he was brilliant. That's again another one that I went to, and I wasn't expecting too much of it. But when I went to see it, I went and saw it and I enjoyed it, and I don't think I could get over anything better than it was. Like part of me wished after it came out that I could see more of the film. It was one of those films that I really wish would have continued just a little bit after it ended. But yeah, that's my entrance to number 9 on my list of the top 10 films of 2018 in UK cinemas. So at number 8 on my list we have Yardie, which is Idris Elba's directorial debut, and of course in this one, the main character is, because it's set in 70s Kingston, and the main character is a young Jamaican man named D, and he's sent to London during that time to reason with some deal thing, and his ex-wife and his daughter are living over in London, and that kind of had me. That was another one that had me just up, because Idris Elba did a fantastic job in directing this movie. It was a excellent star-studded cast as well. They all did the jobs well. They captured the essence of a 70s London. It even felt like a 70s movie. The same goes for another film that was not, unfortunately, it's not been included on this list. But that one took place in the 80s, and that sort of had that same kind of feel to it with the way it was set. But Yardie was the one that just gained that little bit of extra credit from me on being the better film of 2018. So at number 7 on my list we have Incredibles 2, the sequel we waited 14 years for, or if you're in the UK with me, an extra month because of the World Cup. They've pushed it back, but I actually got to see this an early screening, because Cineworld did one of their little secret unlimited screenings, and that ended up being Incredibles 2. So I saw the film 3 times in the cinema, and I think my reaction when I came out was, that was incredible. And that's my only way I can really describe Incredibles 2. It was a well put together story. Brad Bird had come back with passion. A lot of the voice cast came back, the only main exception being Spencer Fox, and there was Rick Dicker, who was voiced by another guy as well. But they're the main two, because Spencer Fox grew up, so they had Hook Milner voicing Dash. I can't remember who took over from Bud Luckey for Rick, but they were all good. It was a good movie, very well animated, a great new story to The Incredibles, because of course we expanded on a lot in the first one. While the first one heavily focused on Mr. Incredible, this one tended to go more towards Elastigirl and giving her a spot in the limelight, where we got to see how Bob sort of acts with the family. But it was well worth the 14-year wait, I've got to say. That's all I can say about it. So number 6 on my list, we have what was my most hyped film of 2018, and it did not disappoint, and that was Ready Player One. So of course in this one you had Ty Sheridan, Olivia Cook, Ben Mendelsohn, Simon Pegg, Mark Rylance. It was sort of, because basically, for those who don't know, Ready Player One is sort of a game that takes place in the Oasis, which is this virtual reality style world, and it was all the imagination that is like put into, based on the novel by Ernest Cline. I even read that after I saw the film. Because I loved the movie and I liked the book even better, so that was good. Like, this was actually my number 1 film for a little while before I evaluated what I'd seen of the year, and then I sort of brought it back down the list a little bit. But I had high hopes of this film. I went to the cinema. Again, this is another one I got to go to an early Cineworld screening for. This was one of the few films I think was actually worth a 3D viewing. Of course, because I went to this in 3D and then I went to it again in 4DX just to see the difference. And it was one of those worthy films of having that kind of aspect of being in that style of film. And I thoroughly enjoyed Ready Player One. Great acting, a great piece put together, and especially just all the imaginative aspects. Like, you could look all around in sort of ways. You have like the Minecraft setting. You have characters like RoboCop appears, Marvin from Looney Tunes. Looks sort of like mountain climbing with Batman. It's just that wide imagination out that goes across everything, and it is worth seeing. Like, I felt it was very worth seeing. I even bought this 3D Blu-ray steelbook of it just to have that sort of part of it as well. And I just think the character design's just spot on, and I've got to still be pleased with Ready Player One. So at number 5 on my list, we have Finding Your Feet. This is a British comedy. So this one stars Imelda Staunton, Celia Imrie, Timothy Spall, David Heyman. It's a lot of the, and Joanna Lumley. So it's a lot of the very well good British cast that we know and love, like out of sitcoms and stuff. We've seen Imelda Staunton in many things over the past, because she's been in things like Vera Drake, Harry Potter, Chicken Run, and many others. And they've had Timothy Spall, again, another Harry Potter one, but of course he's been in, again, Chicken Run 2 with him. He's a great British actor. Pierre Point as well, if you're putting him into the case. And Celia Imrie as well. Just lots of stuff you've known all these actors for. Joanna Lumley, Ab Fab. A lot of these people at cast are just in stuff that you know them for, and they all just work together. And it's what I call this a first class British acting, which is what I get when I see these kind of actors working together in a film. Because I love just seeing them just work together on the film. I went to this film, Finding Your Feet, with the expectation of satisfaction. Came up with the satisfaction at the end of the film, and it's one of those, if you're just a fan of them, you just need to go and watch it, or just get it on DVD, because it's out available now. You can buy it on DVD, get it, watch it. You'll probably enjoy it if you're a fan of these cast. So number 4 on the list, we have My Generation. So a lot of you people may know who Michael Caine is, of course, one of the greatest British actors ever to hit our screen. So this is sort of a documentary film that goes back across the 60s of Michael Caine's time of growing up in London, how he adopted the name Michael Caine, because not a lot of people know that, but he was known as, his name was actually Maurice Michael White up until he started joining the Actors Guild, and he used the name from the Caine Mutiny. I didn't realise that's how he got the name from. I knew that was his name, but I didn't realise that was how his stage name of Michael Caine came to be. And you had some excellent music. You had contributions from The Who, The Rolling Stones, and then you had characters. You had Joan Collins appeared in the movie, Roger Daltrey, Marianne Faithfull, Lulu, Paul McCartney. It's a lot of good old people from the 60s as well. And it shows as well as more to Michael Caine than just The Dark Knight and the Nolan stuff that he's in. Because of course, in the modern day, he's known for being in Nolan films. But you look back at the 70s, you got films like The Italian Job, Get Carter, Zulu. The Man Who Would Be King. There's a lot you can enjoy. Like, if you've only seen Michael Caine in recent stuff, go back, look at some of these older films, because they are genuine pieces of entertainment, and he's an actor who's spanned across all this time. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I went with my friend Charlie because we went to a screening with a Q&A. We both enjoyed the film so much, and we got to see Michael Caine do sort of a thing. This wasn't actually us there. He was doing it from a different cinema in London, but we were watching it from the cinema we were at, and we loved it. We loved it. We absolutely loved it. And if you're a fan of this kind of stuff, you need to look at it. So at number 3, we get to Wes Anderson's animation, I Love Dogs. This, again, like, I'm a dog fan. I love dogs so much, and because I've got a Lakeland myself, and he's a great fella, and especially if you're a dog lover, you're gonna love this film, because that's one of the things that made me love it. And there was multiple dog films that came out this year. I'm aware there was Lek and the Dogs, there was Show Dogs, but let's say about that better, and there was Dog Days, and there was Patrick. There's quite a few dog-related films that have been out in the last year, but I Love Dogs was one of the stuff for me, because this one's set in Japan, and it's this boy's odyssey. He's in search of a lost dog, because all the dogs have been banished to this island, and that's where they all live, and this boy goes out to the island to try and find his lost dog. I liked how the dogs sort of talked. It was sort of that animation style to Fantastic Mr. Fox, because if any of you remember back in 2009, I think that film's almost a decade old now, but there was that film, Fantastic Mr. Fox, the adaptation from the Roald Dahl story. It's animated in the same style as that, and that's what makes it a great looking film. And I just, because I saw some of the trailer for this, not all of it, just a clip of it, and I thought, this is dogs, I've got to go and see this as well. And it's like all the people that Wes Anderson brought in for cast. You had Bryan Cranston, Edward Norton, Bob Balaban, Jeff Goldblum, there goes my dog, Bill Murray, and Greta Gerwig, many others, Frances McDormand. It's a worthy film. I Love Dogs, very great film, and it's a must-see by just anyone else who may love dogs just as much as I do. So at number 2 on my list, we have John Krasinski's A Quiet Place, because in this one you have Emily Blunt, John Krasinski himself, and then Millicent Simmons, Noah Jupe, Kate Woodward, and Leon Russom. And this film sort of takes place in it's sort of a world where it's been inhabited by these creatures, and they'll respond if you make noise. So what kind of gets this one going, and there goes my dog, what kind of gets this one going is it starts off, if you've seen the trailer, the film sort of begins, and then this kid has this toy airplane that makes a noise. It makes noise, and of course he's captured by one of those creatures, and the film's sort of their survival from those creatures to stay away from them. And I think what helped this film stand out was the lack of dialogue. Like, there was barely any spoken dialogue in this whole movie. It was the majority of it was just physical acting, and that's often what makes the film great. 'Cause that's why I like Dunkirk so much in 2017. It was the physical acting of like Finn Whitehead and Tom Hardy and the like. It was all of that. There was very little dialogue there, and the music, and just because in The Quiet Place it's the silence that builds the film up. And if you ever do get a further chance to see this in a cinema, I'd strongly recommend it. Don't bring any crunchy food or anything in there, and just be quiet, like shut the fuck up throughout the whole film, because that's the way you can enjoy it, and that's the way you can feel as though you're part of the film. So before I get to my number 1 pick of my top 10 films of 2018, there's a couple I just want to run over as well, give the honourable mention treatment too. So the first one is the one that I would have put on this list, but because it's not actually out here until February, I'm putting it here in the honourable mentions, and that is Green Book. Again, that was another one of the secret ones I went to, and I just enjoyed it. The other honourable mentions include Searching, which is sort of a Gone Girl through a computer style film, The Shape of Water with Sally Hawkins, Crazy Rich Asians, with the rising cast member Henry Golding. I think he's got a career building for him. Black Klansman, which was the other one I was referencing to when I was talking about Yardie. And the final one is The Secret of Marrowbone. So yeah, so a few other handful of good movies that I've seen this year. So now, what is my number 1 movie of 2018? So my number 1 movie of 2018, this took quite hard thought, but because I went to see this in the cinema in August when it was around, and it had very little word of mouth to it. Like, hardly anybody knew about it, because in the middle of this day and age, people are all focused on Infinity War or Black Panther or anything Disney, basically anything Disney pump out. Because if you look at it, most people were interested in in those films. So basically my number one film is Alpha. This one had, this was all majority spoken in sort of a language that was created for the film. You had Cody Smith McPhee, Johannes Hakur Johannesson for that one. Marcin Kowalczyk, Jens Hultain. It's predominantly foreign cast, but Morgan Freeman has a voiceover narration at the start and the end of the film. That was something that fitted the film's tone perfectly, because in this one, because it takes place in the prehistoric past, and a young man struggles to return home after being separated from his tribe during a buffalo hunt, and then he encounters a wolf which he names Alpha, which he trains to help not attack him and be friendly to him. And I went into that film because I just went into this just because there was nothing else on that I hadn't already seen, and I had to have something to review for my show. But I went in and I came out of the film in the aftermath, and I was just thinking, I thought, wow, like, how has this got very little word of mouth to spread it around? I just didn't get how nobody knew about this film. Like, because at this point in time, Christopher Robin had just come out. Like, people were mainly focused on Ant-Man and the Wasp, but Christopher Robin, like that, they were the main focuses. But I went to see this later on, and I thought, seriously, more people need to see this film, because this was a wonderful piece of cinema. It kind of felt a little bit like The Revenant at first, but once I'd seen it through and been able to reflect on it, I thought it was just the greatest film I've seen, and that's why it's on number one of my top 10 films of 2018. So now that I've done that, here's a full rundown of my top 10 films of 2018. At number 10, Phantom Thread. Number 9, Hotel Artemis. Number 8, Yardie. Number 7, Incredibles 2. Number 6, Ready Player One. Number 5, Finding Your Feet. Number 4, My Generation. Number 3, Isle of Dogs. Number 2, A Quiet Place. And number 1, Alpha. Do give this list a like if you do agree or disagree with some of the films. Like, if you had a top 10 films of 2018, leave them down there in the comment section below. Tell me if you share the opinions on them, or whether you liked any, or whether you saw either all or some of these, and whether you agree that you liked them or you disliked them. Do let me know, because I would like to find out. And stay tuned upcoming for my next list, which will be my top 10 worst movies of 2018. That's coming up tomorrow.